Okay, I want to show as quick as I can here what's happening with the polar vortex here on November 27th, Thanksgiving Day, 2014. This is actually from 2 days ago. So what they want to do is keep this flow coming down from Canada into the central U.S. So let me backtrack and show this history here. Okay, so this is November 24th. And this is the kind of conformation that they're trying to maintain. Lots of chemtrails in this area. And what happened was this fold, the southern fold here in the jet stream, this is counterclockwise turn. And as this compresses, there's a conservation of angular momentum. And let's step through time and see what happens. It starts to fold up and the spin starts to accelerate. Plus, this creates low pressure at the surface, and we have warm water down this far south. And so it begins to build into a powerful low pressure. Now here it's folding up and moving north. So we still have warm water here. In fact, let me show you the water temperature real quick. Okay, so this is about 65. This is the light blue is about 60. So up here is probably right around 60 degrees, maybe 58, 60 degrees where this is happening. So let me jump back now. So what's happening is you have this angular momentum being conserved, just like a ballerina pulling in her arms. She's going to spin faster and faster, and that builds this low pressure. Jump ahead again. You can see now there's some real low pressure here. It's starting to really kind of spin up. Now this is what the chemtrail engine, the geoengineers do not want to have happen, because this will mess up the polar vortex. So they've got to kill this thing. So for the last 48 hours I've been watching this, and I have to say this video is strong evidence but not proof. So let me jump ahead now. See some more. This is a few hours later. This is November 25th, 2300 Zulu. So now we can see it's really getting compact, spinning up, but something that we notice now, this right at the center of the low pressure, for some reason it's not one to rotate here. And we don't see any clouds here. This is water vapor on goes west. So we should see the heaviest water vapor right here where the center of the low pressure is. That's the center of the rising air, and we don't see that. Okay, here's a few hours later. It has actually spun up more and more. Now this is a deep low pressure, high winds, and again what we don't see, we do not see clouds in the center. So that's very odd, and also it's not rotating here in the middle. And the pressure maps are showing this to be an intense low pressure. Here's the sea level pressure for November 26th. Lots of low pressure here at the surface. Very powerful. This is starting to look like a hurricane. But look at what happens, well, in a minute I'll show you. Here's the jet stream. This rising air is so powerful, it's also created its own effect in the jet stream. Okay, now we go back and look at the projected, here's the projected. Okay, now here is, as this thing was a strong surface low and jet stream low, this is the jet stream here. Now if I step ahead 6 hours, look how it smooths out, smooths out, smooths out. It's actually gone. It's actually gone by the present time, which is November 27. And they've reestablished this clockwise cold air train. Let's jump ahead and look at some more of this. Okay, here's visible light. We can see it in visible light. And let me stop this just to point this out. Sorry. I'm trying to get through this quick. There's a lot to show. But again, here's the center of the low pressure. And instead of having clouds there, we don't see clouds here. We see the clouds off to the side. That's not normal as far as I know. I mean, granted there's cooler dry air coming down this way, but it's the temperature difference between the water, which we know is maybe 58 degrees, and this cold air up here that gives the energy for this low pressure to spin up more and more. So no matter what, we should see a core of thunderstorms here, and we don't see it, and that persisted through this entire event until it was gone. And let me zoom in here. Now this is November 26, 19 Zulu. Now we can really see this thing. There is no real core of rotation. And also, in the core, these clouds are disappearing. This is a Haarp downburst, if you ask me. Jump ahead some more. Similar view, a couple hours later. And now the key is going to be if we can find any clockwise rotation. Any single cloud in this entire area that rotates clockwise is a proof of a downburst of air destroying this low pressure. And there is actually evidence of that. And from my earlier videos, these guys have altered the software, it's my belief, to make sure that there won't be any evidence on the satellite map of clockwise rotation. But towards the end of this sequence, we actually do see some clockwise rotation. In fact, this may be one of the best ones right here. This right here actually, okay, here's the center of the low right here. So these clouds here are doing this odd dance. They're not rotating at all, okay? Very odd, very odd. So let me jump ahead. Here is middle of the day on November 26th. Let me zoom in. And I've got it running fast so we can see, sort of easier to see these features. But here's the center of the low pressure, and yet there's no clouds there. How the heck does that happen? Any meteorologist, please let me know what you think about that. I mean, I know there's dry cold air coming down this way, so there may be some evaporation, but still, that temperature differential should be enough to see a core of thunderstorms here. And let's see, we can just look at the future of this. It just absolutely straightened out. So here is sunset. Now this is one of the keys to understand this thing. That instead of seeing a core, what we actually see is like an arc here, an arc here, arc here, arc here, arc here. So they're like 5 separate Haarp downbursts that are being moved so that nowhere do you get a clockwise rotation. Now here's actual sunset. Let me zoom in. So we can actually see the texture of the clouds. And again, here's a definite arc. Here's an 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 arc. It's kind of like a pinwheel effect. And I play it. And yet, where are the central thunderstorm clouds? I don't get it. This is some man-made stuff here. And now we're coming up to the end of the sequence here, because this is November 27 at 2:30 Zulu. So this is the evening, late night of November 26 on the west coast. And we zoom in. And again, I am still looking for just a single cloud that's going clockwise will prove that this is a Haarp downburst. That they're using new software to make sure there's no holes and nothing goes clockwise. Well, they have a minor screw up here, because right here, right there are some little tiny clouds that are going clockwise. See, this entire thing here is trying to go counterclockwise. But right here, we see a little band of clouds that's going clockwise. So they screwed up. And I think this is really good evidence. Right here, see these little clouds right there. They move to the right and they disappear. They're strongly moving to the east. There should be no counterclockwise movement in any of this area here. But right here, we've got these little teeny clouds moving to the east. I could maybe zoom that a couple more times. Oh, that's better. Got a lot of distortion there, but right here, these little guys right here, moving clockwise. Look, everything else is going counterclockwise, as a low pressure should. Only descending high pressure, descending air can cause anything to move clockwise. So there's your proof that this is a Haarp downburst. And granted, that's not really, really powerful, but the fact that this whole thing just disintegrated spontaneously is, I think, proof on its own. And that it's consistent with keeping the jet stream in this northward fold. Okay, so again, this is the area. This is a couple hours later, so that little cloud aberration, evidently the software detected it, and now they're just blipping all over this thing to kill it. And I literally have about 80 windows open, so the computer's really slow. But if we go through the pressure maps again, November 27th, jet stream. Oh, I forgot to say something here. This is kind of key, because for all day long on November 26th, here's the pressure map that they were showing for the surface, okay? This was the surface pressure map for November 26th. They never updated this map, and plus it says 500 millibar height analysis but this is the correct link for the surface pressure map. So there was something so funky going on all day of the 26th that they never gave us a isobar map for this sea level pressure. Which again, it seems to only happen when there's something really weird going on and they don't want to show anybody. Okay, so here's daybreak on the 27th, Thanksgiving Day. Let me stop it. So here is where there should be massive thunderstorms, tall clouds, and we can see from the sunrise that there is nothing. One more frame and I'm done. So this is the current, basically. This low pressure has been smeared, blown apart. In fact, it's kind of interesting because here we see there's a low pressure, and here we see this kind of a squeezing effect where we don't see any rotation. And here again we have some rotation up here. And this to me is evidence that Haarp was involved. That is a man-made effort to kill that thing. One other thing, you see this low pressure down here. When they do this man-made low pressure destruction, often another low pressure will spin up off to the side, like here. And this actually became a big feature later on. In fact, that's what's going to bring a lot of this rain, flooding event to Oregon. And we see it here. And that's actually what progressed around and will be the first to enter Oregon, causing a lot of flooding. So, I hope this isn't going to be 19 minutes. I apologize that last one was so long. I had no idea. Okay, here it is. Here's this low pressure. When they're goofing with what Mother Nature wants to do, oftentimes a low pressure will pop up, and this is what we're seeing here. And again, it's getting squashed too. It's getting squashed too. Granted, this flow here is some warm tropical air, and so this low pressure is not going to try to build the same way that cold air going over this 58-degree water will build. Anyway, this is again to maintain this polar vortex flow. And here's the current. Sure enough, you know, they've maintained it. I mean, this low pressure was so strong, had it just gone ahead and moved in, their little Arctic flow would be disrupted, and California would probably get a lot of good rain and such. Okay, well, I hope that's good evidence for everybody. Granted, it's not proof, but this software is now getting very clever at hiding all of this. And the guys that were running these SBX transmitters, good job. You really hit it. You know, one thing I want to point out, though, is that off the coast of Sitka, Alaska, there's two major Haarp transmitters, megawatt transmitters. So in the daytime, they can just hit this thing all day long and blow it apart, which evidently they did. Okay, well, I hope that's helpful to people. This polar vortex is going to continue and continue and continue. So you guys that can investigate the Chicago Mercantile Exchange heating degree day futures options, you know, have a look at that. Who's making all the money on this stuff? Who are the counterparties? Who knew ahead of time that it was going to be super cold and for how long? Okay, thanks for watching.